Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Valley Diaries with me, Asbury and Tamar Mercier. Say hi, Tim.
Hi.
You know what, Tim? The reason I thought it would be good to do this podcast is because I feel like, tell me if I'm wrong, but do you hear in movies and in TV shows people mentioning the Valley? Like, oh, the Valley, the Valley. Or is it just
All
me?
the time. All the time. The Valley is so famous, but
Yeah.
no one knows why. Why is the Valley so
I
famous?
know. That's exactly what I was thinking. Why is the Valley famous? And this is what used to confuse me. Tell me if you ever thought about this one too. I remember a time when, okay, there used to be this movie called Valley Girl back in the 80s. I'm sure you guys all know.
Yes.
And the Valley Girls were like the cool rich girls, and the total losers were from over the hill. And then when like 10 years later, we're watching Clueless, they're like, ew, the Valley? We're going to a Valley party. And then it kind of flip-flopped. Did you
Yeah.
notice that? Or is that, I mean,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Totally. But wait, what was that one movie with it was all the stoners, the Sean Penn was like, that's my
Oh, yeah. So
school, dude.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah. Wasn't that in the Valley?
That was the Valley. And to me, because you and I, let's tell everyone out there, you and I both grew up in the Valley.
Yes, we did.
And where do
Right
we
in the
live?
heart.
Right next door to each other. We were
Yes, we did.
next
Yep.
door neighbors.
Yes, we were on Woodley.
Legitimate. In our diapers. We were legit Valley next door neighbors in actual diapers.
Right next door. Right
Sorry,
next door.
guys. Got my phone up. But this is the weird thing. Well, it's not weird, but when I, growing up in the Valley, when I did end up watching Fast Times, I feel like that the sunshine, the color of everything, I thought, oh, that's it. That's the Valley. Like to me,
Yeah.
that's the one. They're at the Galleria. I think they filmed that. We should Google it, but I think they filmed that at Canoga, parts of it. Canoga
Yeah.
High. I need to Google that. But anyway, yeah. So to me, that movie with all the, Spicoli, like in the classrooms, that really did feel like the Valley to me.
Yeah, it was. It was. And it was not only the rich kids, but it was the per se losers. It was everyone, all parts of the pie that made it the valley, the famous valley as well. It was
Wait,
everybody.
you know what's weird? Okay, so that's got to be part of it. It's got to be part of it that the Valley was definitely when people go, oh, it's a melting pot. This was a serious melting pot of so many different types of people. And the weird thing is, and you guys leave comments if I'm wrong or if you agree with me, there could be like a total crazy looking loser whose dad is like a multimillionaire record producer,
Yes.
and you never knew who had what almost
Yes.
by
So true.
looking at him. I mean, you kind of did by, when we were in, I'd say middle school, everyone needed certain labels and stuff, but there was a lot of mixture of styles and different kids with a lot of famous parents. I'm going to start with that.
So
Who did
true.
you go to school with? Did you go to school with anybody who was on TV or in movies?
I did. Eighth grade. I sat right next to who else? Chunk from Goonies. Jeff. I can't remember his last name
Did
in
you
eighth
really?
grade.
Oh, I
Yes,
think
eighth
it's
grade.
Cohen.
Yes, Jeff Cohen. We sat right next to each other in English at Parkman, and we were such good buddies. We were actually both class clowns and got in so much trouble. Of course, I got more busted than he did because I was not the movie star, but that was at Parkman.
Wait, that is
Eighth
so
grade.
cool.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Wait, so
But
where was So Parkman was what, a junior high it was called
it
back
was
then.
junior high, yeah, and it was on DeSoto,
It was
DeSoto,
on
right,
this.
a couple
Oh,
blocks down from Ventura. But
wait,
yes,
so is this Woodland Hills?
Woodland Hills.
So you sat next to literally Chunk from the Goonies in the
Yes,
Valley from, well, you know what? That is such a Valley story. So, and then did
totally.
you have kids at school whose parents were any kind of producers or actors or anybody in the industry?
Well, Kenny Wilson. We didn't go to actually to school together, but Kenny
Hmm.
Wilson, he hung around, skateboarded um, around my school all the time. I was totally
Yeah.
in love with him from the second I met him. And his mom,
Yeah.
June Wilson, she used to be a very famous model. And then his
Ooh.
dad, Jacques, produced movies, I believe, or plays. And I think he was involved with Marilyn Monroe at one time and someone else. I think someone else, very big plays or movies, screenplays,
Yeah.
something. Yeah, back in the day. And Kenny, you would have thought that he was a total loser when really he was just a bad boy and got in a lot of trouble. And
Mm.
his parents were involved. His mom was an incredible on on pages of or covers of
Yeah.
magazines. So really, I think it was the Valley was kind of like confusion soup. Who would have
Right?
thought? Who would have known? Yeah. I think kids just went off like the crazy deep end when their parents, and not necessarily referring to Kenny, but I mean,
Right.
their parents had a lot of money,
Yeah.
and were very well known or just had, these big, very important jobs. And
Yeah.
these kids, their parents had money, and the kids just went off and did buck wild, crazy things.
And you know what's kind of weird? And I wonder, because I know obviously the Valley existed before we got there, but I would say we are Generation X, you and I.
Oh,
We
yeah.
were born in what, early 70s, kids in the
Yeah.
80s, teenagers in the 90s. And not everybody listening to this podcast will be of our exact same age group, but I do think the Valley got a little more crazy when I know Reagan put in the no fault divorce laws in I think 1980 or early 80s, and then a lot of us ended up latchkey kids or both
Yeah.
parents ended up in the workforce. There was stay-at-home moms were no more,
Mhm.
so a lot of us were kind of left. I don't want to say left out to dry, but a lot of us had a lot more freedom than your mother's picking you up from school.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I feel like it was a wilder time. And it is said, just in general, statistically, as far as Generation X, that they were kind of left to their own devices. And if you want something done, give it to somebody from Generation X because they are used to doing stuff on their own. Like that is what is said about our generation. And I'm going to
Yeah.
agree with that. And I'm going to say the Valley having these really nice neighborhoods bordering bad neighborhoods let those mixes of people interact. And it was kind of exciting
It's very exciting.
because you're going to meet people that you may not have met at your private school. Now, did you go to any private schools in the Valley ever?
Well, yeah, I did. I went to Los Angeles Baptist for seventh grade.
LAB. You went to
LAB.
LAB.
Yes.
Wow.
LAB. Yes. And
Everybody knows about LAB. I feel like the girls were like really pretty. I feel like they were like the very quintessential Valley girls at that school. Am I wrong?
they were very, very pretty, very goody goody, but also very bad, but very pretty.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I had a crazy, crazy party at my house at the
Yeah.
end of the year, seventh grade. The craziest party. It
Wait a minute,
reminds
wait a
me
minute. So wait, seventh grade would mean you were what, 12?
12, and I turned 13 at the end of the year, June 22nd. So it was the very end of the year.
Okay. Okay, so you
Yes.
had a party at a house. Where was this house?
The house was in Woodland Hills, Del Moreno
Okay.
Drive.
Okay.
Yes. And I was friends with all the older kids, all the seniors, the juniors and the
Wait, how did
seniors.
that happen?
I had a friend, so Jackie and Marty, my mother and stepfather,
Okay.
had another attorney that my stepdad worked with in his
Yeah.
firm, had a daughter who was in the 11th grade at
Got
LAB.
it.
And so her
Okay,
and
that
I
makes
were friends.
yeah.
And I didn't really hang out with kids my age, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I was good friends with her. Her name was Michelle,
Yeah.
and she was in the 11th grade. So we hung out all the time, and I got to know her group of friends. And we decided to throw a huge party
Oh my
at
gosh.
the end of the year when school got out. So we did. And I told Jackie and Marty, the
Yeah.
parents, that we were going to do this. And they were like, okay, fine, whatever. So we
Huh.
invited all of the juniors and seniors, and we had a band.
Wait, wait. This is so like movie. You had a band?
We had a band and we had kegs. And mind you, I had just gotten out of the seventh grade,
Wait, you
just
were
turned 13.
okay, so you were 13, you had kegs and bands go on.
Yes. And it was set for a weekend night.
Okay.
And there were so many cars in our driveway. They went all like the street was packed, lined
Yeah.
with cars, lined with cars. And
Wait, I have a side note. What was like the cool car during that time? Like if you had what kind
I
of car? Like,
I don't remember. I think there were, oh my gosh, there were like cars with T tops and convertibles, and
oh,
they
like
were
the,
all,
the IROC and all that?
yeah, yeah, new cars, like new
Wow.
cars.
Because
They
these
were
are like
all,
the rich kids. Didn't
yeah, oh
Army
yeah.
Hammer go there? Army Hammer went to LAB. Now I'm
And
realizing.
didn't Shannon Doherty,
Shannon Doherty. Yeah, this is okay. So these are like full on less than zero, like rich kids.
yes, that's what it reminds me of is less than zero. That's what this party
Wow.
reminded me of because there were like like a lot of cocaine was going down.
Are you? I should not be surprised. Okay, so
No,
you're
yeah.
you're 13, and where are you seeing this cocaine?
Okay, so on the side of our house, there was a side gate that
Yeah.
opened up on the side of the house, and it went opened up and walked down through into the backyard where we had a diving board and like a big, like there was kind of like an up thing that they hadn't built yet, but you could go up there and kind of look out over the view, but it wasn't totally
Got
built
it.
yet. Yeah,
Okay, so it was
but
like a
so
gazebo was in the works or
yes,
something.
yes. But on the
Okay.
side of the house, there were like the older guys and the older kids and the older girls, they had folds, like the folds with the coke in it, and they were doing it with their
Whoa, little
nail and like
brindles.
little,
Yeah.
yeah, and like little straws and stuff. It was, there were so many people, hundreds of people at this party, and it went until the very morning, like the early morning. It was huge.
I need to know because I love fashion and I'm out of control. What were like the people like when you think back, what was the like clothes on these people? Like what were they wearing?
I remember shorts and the girls like little
Short.
cotton shorts, and the girls
Yeah.
had shirts that went off their shoulders.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah. And like
And then
real
what was the hair?
I remember some of the girl like one of the girls had short hair and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of blonde hair and like the
Yeah,
light brown hair with some highlights in it.
that's so I would
Curly, like the curly kind of scrunchy-ish hair.
mm-hmm.
And the eye makeup was like the what do you like the shimmery eyeshadow
This is
with like
speaking
some of
to
the
me.
pastel
I want
colors.
to recreate this and make a movie of this so bad.
It was such a crazy party. It was
What
so
was
crazy.
your outfit at this rager?
My outfit was I had on a little shirt with, and it went off my shoulder, and
Of course.
I was wearing socks, not shoes,
Oh, well.
of course, and some little shorts, and my hair was all blonde, like bleached blonde and
Of
spiky
course.
on the top, like blonde spiky. It was to my shoulders. My
Wait, so was
big
it flopped over to the side?
over to the side, of
Yep.
course.
Yep. I can envision this.
Yes. And I had on like black and blue eyeliner and
Mm,
like pink shiny lipstick, like lipstick lip gloss.
yep.
And
I
I
see
was
it
the
now.
youngest one there, like the youngest, smallest one there.
Did any guys try to like hook up with you?
I don't remember, but they all looked out for me.
Okay, good. That makes me
I
feel a
was
little bit
little Tamar, always little
okay,
Tamar. And
good.
I was really small. I had not had my growing spurt yet. So I was
Yeah,
very
yeah.
short.
You were small. I recall this.
I was very small until I finally grew.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
it
So,
was crazy.
the big question is, did you do any of these drugs or drink any of the alcohol or any of
No,
that?
but I did get drunk. I didn't do any drugs, but I did get drunk.
What did you drink?
Wine coolers.
Wine cooler. What flavor?
I don't remember, but I know there was one that was,
Didn't you
what was
have
it
like
called?
some peach flavor that you liked or
Yes,
something?
peach Melba rum,
Peach Melba. Wait, was that like Seagrams or something, or what was it?
something like that. I don't know,
Artisan
something like that.
James or one of those?
I can't remember if I did any shots of like vodka or anything. I can't remember. I cannot pull it out of the files in my mind, but yes, I did get drunk and it was fun. I jumped in the pool in my clothes at one point.
Oh my
It
gosh. Well, you
was
have to, I
wild.
wager.
It was wild. The backyard was packed. The driveway was packed. It was absolutely crazy.
That is so Val. That is
I know.
so
And
Val.
Jackie and Marty never even popped out of their room to
Wait, they
see
were
if,
home?
yes,
Dude, this is crazy. Okay, so that is very, very Valley. And that's what I expect. That is what I hear. I mean, that's like what I think of when I watch like 16 Candles, and well, that wasn't in the Valley, but and they throw
it
some
reminds
Ranger.
it. It totally
It's
reminds
very
me
80s.
of Less Than Zero.
Yeah, and that was definitely Southern California. Like, I think that was supposed to be like Hollywood or something, or Bel Air
Yeah,
or something. But those two, that was right over the hill from Woodland Hills. So I
yeah.
feel like we definitely mixed a lot with those crowds, and it was a
Oh, for
definite
sure.
mixture, if I'm not mistaken.
I had many, many crazy experiences at that house, even with over the hill, like Beverly Hills, Hollywood
Mm-hmm.
crews coming to that house. I mean, like later on, which was in high school, but those crews coming and having parties at that same house. Um, yeah,
And you know what's crazy? There's definitely parts of the valley that are filmed in a lot of movies that we've all seen. And I feel like some of them, just the way, like I was saying, the way the sunshine is or the way the pools look, where you're like, yep, that's it right there. Now tell me if you remember seeing parts of these movies. Grease, part of that was filmed in the valley.
which one?
That Grease, John
Oh,
Travolta,
yeah.
when they were doing that race in the wash, that was somewhere in the
Yes.
valley. The Bad
Yes.
News Bears, the little baseball team who they're all cursing and drinking, that was in the valley. The
Yep.
Karate Kid, you guys know, was supposed to be in
Yes.
Vita. And like
Yep.
Woodland Hills, I think the bad guy was from Woodland Hills.
Yes.
Boogie Nights was filmed in the valley, straight up Reseda, right in the middle. Parts of Clueless when they went to that valley party was
Yes.
Granada Hills. And also I believe, oh no, the house was in Beverly Hills. A lot of the shots from Beverly Hills 90210, which Tame,
Yes.
love that show.
That was my
Um,
favorite.
Kelly Taylor's house, I think, was in the valley. A bunch of their houses, the exterior shots, the valley. Back to the Future, guys, that house,
Yes.
the valley. I think Arleta, which I don't know much about. Also Pulp Fiction, American
Yep.
Beauty, Lethal Weapon 1, 2, and 3, Fast Times, of course, Valley Girl, and also most recently, you guys, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You'll see a lot of Chatsworth, you know?
The Valley is a very special place.
And you know what? I'm a giant cartoons fan. I've always loved my cartoons. By the way, Tim, did you ever eat cereal and watch cartoons on Saturday mornings?
I think many, many times with you, Aim.
Oh, you did? What was your favorite cartoon?
The Smurfs.
The Smurfs. I know that was like OG. That was like you wanted like you watch all the dumb shows till you got to the Smurfs. That was like the crown jewel.
Yes. Yes.
So, guys, if you guys liked your Saturday morning cartoons, I want to tell you because I just figured this out the other day. The Filmation Studios, Filmation did all the Archie cartoons. They did Fat Albert, they did He-Man, they did Mighty Mouse, they did the Groovy Ghoulies. I don't know if you guys remember them. Anyway, that was in the Valley. That was Sherman, Wayne, and Lindley,
I
right
did
there in
not know
Reseda.
that.
Yeah, we literally walked by there probably 50 times. So that
How
is
weird.
amazing.
That's
And
so
also,
cool.
well, it's called DIC or Dick. I don't know how they say this, but DIC Entertainment Corporation. That was in Burbank.
Wow.
That was founded in 1982. But I'm going to go ahead and say they did the Littles, the Get Along Gang, they did Rainbow Bright, they did Care Bears, they did
Aw.
Popples. I loved. This is a guy from Hanna-Barbera. He like branched off the Valley, and then also the number one, for everything, Hanna-Barbera itself, Flintstones and
Yes.
Scooby-Doo, all
Oh,
that was
Flintstones.
also from the Valley. I think it was Universal City or Burbank or something, but
Oh,
all of our
yes.
cartoons, you guys, the Val. Now, this is very
Oh,
important. Sherman Oaks Galleria, which of course we've
my
all seen
first
in
kiss.
pastimes. We also saw it in Valley Girl. Did
Yep.
you ever go to the Sherman Oaks Galleria?
So I had my very first kiss.
Wait, 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 wait. You had your first kiss. This is so Valley at
My
the
first kiss.
Galleria.
And I still have the gum I was chewing in my diary from my
Wait,
first kiss
wait,
at the
wait.
Sherman Oaks Galleria.
Stop it.
It's true.
So the Galleria, okay, before we get to your kiss, this is amazing. That song, I guess there was a song called Valley Girl,
The
Valley Girl with
Valley
it was
Girl.
like Frank Zappa's daughter, Moon Unit, was like, gonna go to the Galleria. So that's when we're like, huh, Galleria? But no, not Tim. She was already
No.
there getting kissed. Okay. Who kissed
No.
you?
I kissed Rob Brown. He was my very first French kiss. It was
Oh,
outside of the movie theaters. Was that on the third floor?
oh yeah, the third floor. That was
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's like in the wasn't Fast Times Stacy like worked at the theater. Oh no, Rat worked at the theater anyway. Okay, so it was by the
Yes.
theater.
Yes.
You had your bleach blonde hair and you were chewing gum as a Valley Girl does.
And just as I am right now.
Oh my gosh. Wait, so what was like your gum that you like to chew?
Well, I was chewing extra, of course. Pink.
Extra. I did not know that was your gum. So you're chewing gum. Wait, so you kept it in your mouth while you had your kiss?
Of course I did. Yes. It was extra,
That
right? Yeah, I believe I was chewing extra.
is so funny. Okay, so you got
Maybe
kissed.
it was Trident. I'm not sure, but yes,
Raiden is very old school. So oh my gosh. So tell us about this. So you
I
got
was
kissed, and then what
13.
happened?
Yes, I was 13 and I was wearing socks, of course. And I had my
Wait,
first
wait. Did
French
you have
kiss.
shoes on at the mall?
I did not have shoes on. I was wearing socks.
Wait, you got what is going on with the socks business?
I hated shoes.
You hated shoes. All right,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to figure that out at another time because that is a serious thing I
Because
need
my
to
feet
know
were so
all about.
big. My feet
You
were too
just
big and there was just dorky.
wait, so
So I was wearing
nobody realized you were in socks, so like whatever, there's something covering her feet.
yeah. Yeah, it was like my thing. It was my style.
It was your
So
style. You were
yeah,
like, come at me. This is my style. Okay, so you got kissed. And
I
then
got
what?
kissed. And then as we were saying goodbye, so I got kissed and I was chewing my gum. And then when he walked away, and then I ran towards my friend that I was there with, and I said, I'm a woman. And I saved my gum and I put it in my diary and I folded the page over the gum. And it is still in that diary to this day.
That is amazing.
And I'm still friends. I haven't seen him for a few years or talked to
Yeah.
him, but I used to run into him all the time up until I moved away. And he knows that I still have the gum, and he used to think it was
That is
hilarious.
so funny.
I know. I saved the gum, of
So,
course.
so you had real true Valley experiences. I mean, having becoming a woman in the Galleria, I don't know that there's something bigger than that any of
Oh
us.
yeah.
All right, so tell us, you're from the Valley, you're at a mall. What are the good stores at the mall? Like for a girl to get clothes. Like where were the good stores? What were the good stores?
Judy's,
Okay.
Contempo Casuals, those were
Oh
it
yeah. That
right
was good.
there.
Yeah.
Those were the two top stores.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those were the best.
Judy's and Contempo. I feel like we're missing one. What
What are
is
we
the other one
missing? Because those are
called?
my two favorites of all time.
Yeah, those are pretty darn good. And then where did you get your what was your favorite shoe stores or like was there like any bathing suit stores? Because we were always in swimsuits. I feel like we were always like
We were. I don't
pools and
remember
stuff.
where I used to get swimsuits because all the other stores that I used to get my shoes and stuff at were either there was this shoe store that was on Ventura Boulevard. I used to go there and get monkey boots
Mm.
and Docs and creepers, or otherwise I'd go to Melrose.
Melrose, yeah. Because guys,
Yeah.
if you were in the valley, you kind of had to you didn't have to choose a side, but you in a way like Were you going to be new wave? Were you going to be surfer? And you kind of had to like choose a little style there, I feel like. And
Yeah.
you picked kind of the K-rock alternative, like The Cure, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. You leaned toward that after around this age, right?
Yep.
And so that was
Yeah.
like what Susie and the Banshees and all that.
Yeah. And The Cure and all. And so it was Melrose for the rest of everything
Yeah.
because I had, who is that designer? We used to go there together too to her store to go
Oh,
get
Betsy
all her
Johnson?
Betsy Johnson. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Melrose had all those shoe stores to get Monkey Boots too and all the other crazy shoes. And then all the other
Right,
crazy clothes.
Melrose. So yeah, actually I do remember going down there with you and I thought that was so fun. I had never seen like a designer showcase. And this is before, of course, Betsy Johnson kind of sold out to the bigger TJ Maxx's and all
Yeah.
that. She had her own little showcase kind of.
But then there was also the Topanga Mall that just had random stores and they had the Levi's store.
The Levi, remember it was called, wasn't it like Miller's Outpost or
Yes,
something?
Miller's Outpost. That's right.
Miller's Outpost.
And then there was just like random stores. And then, yeah, when I was younger, we didn't have any money. And so we just got a lot of hand me downs and like, yeah.
So when your mother, because this is kind of like a movie. Oh, by the way, you guys, I'm cutting in Cher's family mansion when you're watching Clueless and you see like the big white house, like a little flash of it. It's on Louise Avenue in Encino, everybody.
Michael Jackson,
I want
Havenhurst.
everyone to know. Yeah. And also E.T., the extraterrestrial, Porter Ranch, where they're riding the bikes, everyone. When the bike starts to
E.T.,
fly up in the air, White Oak in
my
Tulsa
own
Street, Granada
home.
Hills, where I used to live. Yeah, so a lot of the stuff we looked at and the stuff you guys look at is just part of the valley. And we were there and we were loving it. Now, what were we just talking about?
Clothing.
Clothing. Okay, so when your mother, she came into a different marriage where she became in a different income bracket and different social class
Ugh.
and
Let's
wanted
call her Jackie.
you, oh yeah, well, she's not your mother. She's Jackie. She kind of
Yeah.
wanted you to look more like upscale. So what did that look like for the valley? Like what did she want you to look like?
Oh, she wanted me to look like a little preppy. She wanted me to look like exactly what I never was and refused to ever be.
That's so that's such a movie.
Oh my
Were you
gosh.
ever in any like sororities or any
No
clubs in the valley?
way. No way. Those were who I wanted to beat up.
Now, didn't she force you to join some group for with a bunch of
Yes.
like what was it?
Job's daughters.
Job's Daughters. That's Valley.
Yeah. It was like the Masons, wasn't it?
I don't know. Okay, so I have a question. What cities in the valley have you lived in?
I grew up in Sepulveda
Okay.
and then when she divorced my dad,
Yeah.
we moved to Tarzana
Tarzana. Okay, there you go.
into a townhouse. And then from Tarzana, that's when they bought the house on the hill in Woodland Hills. And then
Woodland
that's where we
Hills.
moved to. And
Yeah.
then when I moved out and got my first I moved out into a house before I got my first apartment. I moved to Sherman Oaks,
Sherman Oaks. Oh,
and
I've
then
been
I
there
moved
too.
out of
Yeah.
there quickly.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I moved back to Del Moreno until I could find an apartment, which I found in Studio City.
Studio City. There's another one. Okay.
So fun. And then I moved from Studio City. Where did I move? Then I moved back to Woodland Hills.
Yeah.
And then I kept moving around to different duplexes in Woodland Hills for a while.
Did you ever live in Northridge or Encino? Or
I don't
what's another
think
place?
so. Then from Woodland
What about
Hills,
Chatsworth?
no, I didn't live in Chatsworth. Then I moved to that street on White Oak, right by the freeway. What city was that? Tarzana?
Tarzana again. All right, you're back there. You moved all over the Val.
Yeah, then I moved to like North Hollywood.
Oh my
It was
gosh,
like
you really
North
hit up every
Hollywood
damn
to
city.
like North Hollywood, Toluca Woods, something.
Yeah.
Then back to Woodland Hills. And then,
And that's so valid because I feel like all of us that have lived in the valley have lived in almost every part of it. Have you noticed that about people?
yes, yes, totally, totally.
We moved around to all those cities. I've also lived in, well, with my grandmother, we lived in Reseda. I lived in Canoga Park. I lived in Northridge. I lived in Woodland Hills, Tarzana, all those ones you named. And yeah, it's weird. You just kind of start moving around.
Yeah, all over, all over the place.
And you know what's weird to me to think that the old movie stars, well, what's kind of interesting to me about the Valley is, first of all, for those of you that are wondering what the heck it is, and we never answered, it is the suburbs of Los Angeles. So it's kind of like North Los Angeles, Northeast or something. I don't know, but it's the suburbs of Los Angeles. And it
Yeah.
blew up after World War II. A bunch of people came back from the war and set up shop in the Valley. They had really affordable housing and people had the GI Bill, and it just was a giant boom after World War II. But even before that, you guys, there was a ton of farms in the valley, which all of us that have lived there can attest to because there's always a lot of fruit trees.
Yeah, the orange groves.
A lot of our houses had so many different kinds of fruits. To us, it's no big deal, like to see, oh, a peach tree, a lemon tree, an orange tree. Like we had a lot of pomegranate trees, we had apple trees,
Yes. So neat.
so many fruit trees, and farm crops were all around the valley. But that was one of the things back. The valley was actually, I mean, I've heard different dates when it was actually established, but the date I see the most is 1915, and it used to be all farms, and it started out, Tam, as wheat farms, and
How
then
neat.
yeah, wheat farms, and then it went to cattle farms. Then they had something called gentlemen's farms that started popping up, which is like these little self-contained farms. Like you can buy this farm for 5 grand. The whole farm is yours. Basically, it's like a farm of oranges or a farm of grapes or olives or figs, or there was walnut groves. There was
How
lemon and
neat.
grapefruit farms. Yeah, and they're called gentlemen's farms because they were like little farms that you could just take over. But they
Wow.
also had cattle farms, poultry farms, which is chicken farms, obviously, sheep ranches, and dairy farms. And I think West Hills and the West Valley was a lot of dairy farms. And
Wow.
yeah, it had like a Mediterranean climate. So the valley's full of oak trees, pepper trees, fan palm trees. It's really neat. Don't you remember as a kid, and even neither of us live there now, and it's very different now, but don't you remember just seeing like palm trees all the time? Like it had good trees, I feel
Yes.
like.
Yes, yes. One thing I do know is in Woodland Hills, like all back by Wells Drive,
Hmm.
was used to be orange groves.
How pretty.
That's why there's so many orange trees back there.
Yeah, and the fruit was good. Like I remember like just picking stuff out of my own backyard and eating it. Being like,
Yeah.
this is
You always
actually pretty
had
good.
plum trees.
Oh yeah, we had plums, we had
Oh,
nectarines,
yeah.
we had tangerines.
Yes, everything. We had on my first duplex on Topanga, we had
Mhm.
huge pomegranate trees and then the best plum trees ever.
Oh my gosh, there's nothing like it. I could still taste exactly what the fruit tastes like. And
Oh,
it's
your
so
plum trees.
wholesome to grow up in a place with fruit trees and palm
It
trees
was
and
the best.
and is it just me or were there like so many swimming pools?
So many,
It
so
was so
many.
California. It was so a lot of public pools and a lot of there was
Yeah.
water slides in Northridge. There was
Oh,
a
Malibu Grand Prix.
Malibu Grand Prix. Now I don't think I ever went there. Tell me about Malibu Grand Prix.
Malibu Grand Prix was so fun. It was right next to the North Water Slides. It was
So what
so
was it? Little
fun.
cars? It was like little race cars?
Yes, the race car, the big racetrack was so much fun. I even laughed so hard one time. I
Oh my
peed my pants in one of
God.
the race cars while I was racing. And
While you were racing?
while I was racing, and there was a whole long line. E and I, my cousin Aaron, we were there driving the cars, and I had to go up to the front and get up out of the car, and the whole line of people were there waiting. And the
What?
operator, the operator guy was in so much shock because the
He's like,
whole
oh
like
no.
little front thing where you sit in, the little seat had pee all in it. And it was like all
Wait,
squashed, just like
dang.
squashed everywhere.
You were like splish splashing in pee in a race car
Yes,
in the
there was
valley?
so much pee.
Oh, man.
Yes, and so I got out and he took the car, like took the steering wheel and pushed it like up over to the side, like up to the front side. Like the car was totally out of order and I was
Oh,
covered in
dang.
pee and the people were just looking at me laughing like, what is wrong with that girl? What just happened? They were laughing the worst. And E pulled up in her car and she was laughing so hard. I had to walk all the way through the arcade, call my dad
Oh
from the
my
payphone. He had to come
gosh.
pick me up. It was the worst. Of course, I peed my
How
pants laughing.
embarrassing. Were you wearing
It
shoes
was.
though? That's what I need to know.
I was wearing shoes.
Good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there was a lot of fun little things like that, like the cars and I know at Devonshire Downs, which was like a place to do concerts, didn't they have something called the Factory of Nightmares?
Yes, I actually worked there when I was older, but it wasn't
Wait,
at
so
Devonshire
what the
Downs
heck?
anymore.
Why I just heard I always hear something about like a guy with a chainsaw.
Yes, he was so scary. He would chase people all around, like the whole entire carnival with the chainsaw. He'd come running out and chase you.
That is dark.
He was so scary. They had the chicken doors inside, like the actual Factory of Nightmares. The
Oh my
part where
God.
you'd walk through that was so scary, and if you had to go out the chicken doors, E and I ran out the chicken doors with our dads. It was
How
so
old were
scary.
you?
We were like fifth grade, fourth and fifth
Oh
grade.
gosh. Yeah,
It was
that
so
like the
scary.
news of Factory of Nightmares was all about town.
It was frightening.
It was frightening. I heard so many rumors like there's real blood and there's real dead people
It
and
was so
you
scary.
always hear things like that.
Yes, it was so scary. So scary. And then I went there one time in the fifth grade with my
Mhm.
friend Rhonda and her parents, and I stuffed my bra.
For what, the ghosts? What was the reason? You just
I
felt like
just
it?
stuffed my bra, yeah, because she had big boobs and I didn't. So that time I stuffed my bra.
Oh, you're like, you know what? Just in
Yeah.
case. Let's just be even. Let's just be
Yeah,
even.
this time I'm gonna go with boobs.
I'm gonna go with boobs this time.
Yeah, but it was
Puberty in the
scary.
valley. But yeah, and we did. It's probably like every other town in, I mean, I don't know outside of the United States about trick or treating, but we all trick or treated and whatnot in the valley. I feel like it was pretty, the weather is pretty good. It was maybe the Santa Ana winds were blowing, but it wasn't
Yeah.
ever all now. No, I wouldn't say it ever good. It's rained on Halloween before, but I feel like we had pretty good weather. And as kids, we did go around at night and do our whole trick or treating.
It was different. It wasn't like we had to watch out for like axe murderers and stuff. It was just different. It was fun. It was
It was
different back
different.
then.
It was really different. Okay, and then I got a question that's kind of hardcore. What happened to the
Uh,
valley?
I
What
don't
the
know.
heck? Do we know? I want to look it up and see what caused. And for those of you listening to this, things change, places
Things
change, and it's
changed.
not who lives there now. I don't know who lives there now. I don't know anything like that. All I know is that it appears very downtrodden. The buildings look very shabby. There's a lot of garbage. That is what I'm referring to when I say it's different. It doesn't seem as kept as it used to be.
Mm-mm.
That is just me noticing as I drive through there now and again. It doesn't seem the same. And
It's
maybe we'll get to
not.
the bottom. Yeah, we'll get to the bottom of what's, and I know that part of it is there used to be more jobs there and people maybe left when there was no longer work there. But there used to be a big GM plant. I feel like there's a couple of factories that used to be there that are no longer there. That could be part of it.
It's not
But
that big happy place anymore either, and it's not safe like it used to
yes,
be.
something's different. Definitely a rise in crime, but something else. We're going to get to the bottom of that on this podcast in future episodes. And also, each episode, it's probably going to connect to the next because we're going to maybe find somebody who was at that party came through, or, each story we tell, we might find the person, we're gonna start searching for people to corroborate our stories here on this podcast, right,
Yeah,
Tim?
yeah. There's many, many players that we need to bring in.
We need to bring in a lot of people because there was names in the Valley. Tame, there was names.
Yeah, many, many people. Yeah, many, many people. Interesting players that were all part.
Interesting players, and I feel like you were a big social butterfly. You knew a lot of people from a lot of different groups. I was frightened and scared of everybody because I was shy around boys. I felt really insecure around girls. You were like chatting up everybody. But you made a lot of friends with a lot of these people that had a lot of great stories and can tell us a lot about those days.
Yeah, I came across a lot of, and I was friends with a lot of very interesting and fun people that were in it, very, very in it.
Yeah.
It'd be great to have them
Yeah,
come in
so
for you
we're
to
gonna
interview.
we are gonna work on this for you guys listening. For those of you that have listened to this first episode, thank you so much for joining us. We are not even close to being done.
No, this is
Um,
gonna get good.
this is gonna get good. We kind of lived, I'd say we were more in the West Valley, but we will definitely cover other parts of the valley. I know
All
there's like
parts of the
27 different cities. I don't know how many are there. We're gonna have to look that up also. But if you want to be a guest on this show, you've got a story to tell about your portion of the valley. It could be anything from a gang to a church to a restaurant. We love all interesting stories. We love interesting people.
yeah.
So hit us up in the comments. And
Yes.
yeah, thank you so much for talking to us today. And
Yeah.
we will talk to you next time, right, Tane?
That's right. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye bye, guys.
Bye guys.